Okay, first order of business is the presentation of the Cappy Family Scholarship. This year's recipient, Ryan Keating, and here to make the presentation is Mike Cappy on behalf of the Cappy family.
Thank you, Tom, and thank all you people for having us tonight. We really appreciate this opportunity. My mother, who happens to be here tonight, Marge Cappy. Would you stand up, Marge Cappy? Thank you, Mom. We started this award in memory of my father. Well, I'm thinking he's passed away for 10 years now, so probably about 10 years ago. And we get a charge out of this. We do it on behalf of my mother, my sister, my brother, and also my father, who's no longer with us. But those of you in the room, a lot of people may know him, and a lot of people don't. But he was a really cool dude. And he was the kind of guy who, back in the day, we had tryouts for baseball. You didn't just go to a team. So you would watch each kid play ball and rate them, and then you'd pick them. And then there'd be the fast guys, and then there'd be the tall guys, and then the strong guys. And he'd go to the back of the room and grab a little short lefty kid, say, "Come on, kid, you're with me." And he had a really good way of getting the best out of a person. And he was really good at that. And after talking to Ryan Keating's parents and his coaches and that, this young man really fits that bill. He came a long way, went through a lot of things, and he's doing really well now. At this point, I'd like to introduce his father, Jim Keating, who could probably tell you a little bit more about this. And congratulations, Ryan. We're glad to help him out.
Thank you. Thanks, Jim. Good evening, everybody. But thank you very much. When we first heard about this a few weeks ago, we gave Ryan a call. I think it was like a Friday afternoon, and Diane Hawk gave us a call, and she's like, asked for his resume and asked for some information about him. And we thought, geez, did he get in trouble or something? What's going on? But she came over, and she gave us this note and told her that he was the recipient of this scholarship. And we were very excited for him. So we gave him a call and shared the information with him. And I could see it, even though we were talking over the phone, I could hear in his eyes and how excited he was and honored he was to receive this scholarship. Ryan came a long ways. A little bit about Ryan. He was always, luckily he got his genes from me, because that helped all of his athletics out, of course. And he got the size I'm talking about, the athletic ability he got from my wife. You guys, if you knew how big he was, you'd laugh at that joke. But he's like 6'4", 290, and I'm not that big. But a little thing about Ryan, he was a 4-year letterman in lacrosse. He loved lacrosse, played football. He loves football, and outstanding, student and all that. And just loves sports. So that's why he was so happy to hear that he got this scholarship. So he's very honored to get that. And what he's doing right now, he's at the U.S. Air Force Academy Prep School. He's playing football right now, and with the hopes and intent of next year getting an appointment to the Air Force Academy, too, to play football out there. So that's what he's doing right now, and he just wanted to say thank you very much for the scholarship. Appreciate it.
Good? Okay. Okay, next we're going to go a little out of order, but since I'm standing here, that's my choice. It's about the only benefit, believe me. First, we're going to have the Wall of Fame induction. It's Tony Pescar, and first I'm going to introduce Russ Jakes. Strongsville's winningest football coach.
Thanks, Tom. It's been quite a while since I've been back here. It's great to see a lot of old friends. I like hanging around with Wally Zaverna because that makes me feel really young. But as I sat here and looked at the recipients, and I was there other than Mike and Brittany, I was there for every one of them. I tried my damnedest to get Chris Green to play football. I did everything. He was one of the greatest athletes I've ever seen. And I even tried to get Ali Metzger at the time to play football. And then Owen Lynch, of course, my good friend and who used to be my boss, and one of the best ADs I've ever been around, and great basketball coach, Joe. I had a mishap and had to go to the emergency room at Southwest General about a couple months ago. And my son and I were there, and we were nervous. I was having some problems. And the nurse kept saying, well, calm down, calm down. Next minute, here comes Owen walking in. He was assigned to that evening. And I said, you know what? I told my son, Brett, everything's going to be okay. O's here, and we're ready to go. So, like I said, it's been a while since I've been here, and it's great to see old friends. Because this is what Strongsville is all about. First thing I want to do is thank the Pescar family for allowing me this honor of introducing Elaine on behalf of my great friend, Tony Pescar. Before I ask Elaine to come forward, though, I got a couple stories I want to tell about Tony and the enormous role that he had in helping us bring the tradition back that Coach Jim Rademacher and Coach Dick Miller had set for Strongsville football. And that was winning championship football. The first one happened in 1993. This is our first year here. And we had just beaten Brunswick, last game of the year. And we had accomplished something that no other Strongsville football team had ever done. We won our first Pioneer Conference championship. We also qualified for the Division I state playoffs for the very first time. A lot of you, as I look around the room, maybe not a lot of you, know that we used to play our games at Taliac Field, which meant we dressed at the high school, got on a bus, rode to Taliac. After the game, we'd get back on the bus and ride back. We're the only team in America that played 10 away games. But after that game, pick up our clothes, we get back on the bus. And this particular night, after winning a championship, after qualifying for the playoffs, you know, we were all feeling pretty good. The students had rushed the field. They had all kinds of signs. The band was playing. It was a great, great atmosphere. So when we got on the bus and we started up Pearl Road, it was like a 4th of July parade. People lining the streets, cheering on these young kids that had done a great, great job. So we got stopped at the light right there by McDonald's on Pearl Road. So we're sitting there, and all of a sudden, I hear this bell. And it's ringing. And I'm looking around, and Dan York sat next to me. I said, Dan, what's that? He says, I don't know. So I look out the window, and here goes this guy sprinting down the middle of Pearl Road, ringing this bell. Louder and louder and louder. The more he went back and forth, the louder it got. The louder it got, more people came out of Taco Bell, McDonald's. I mean, they were everywhere. Well, that was my first introduction to Tony Pescar. And what he did was get people fired up and enthusiastic. Secondly, as we went on, Tony and Elaine and I became really good friends. And Tony became a much, much bigger part of our program. Tony loved all sports. It didn't matter. As long as you had green and white on, it didn't matter what sport it was, where it was, didn't matter. He loved all sports. But as we became closer as friends, he became a bigger part of our football program. So much bigger that I asked him to speak to our team after the last practice of our Brunswick game every year. Now, I don't know how long he prepared. Only Elaine would know that. But I know this. When he walked up in front of that team, he was ready. And it was amazing to me, every team that he talked to, every year, how those kids, how those coaches, how those trainers were connected to every word he said. The reason is, one, they knew that he was going to be enthusiastic, he was going to be inspirational. And two, they knew it came from his heart. Every person, because one thing about Tony, he believed in every word that he spoke, and he believed in every person that he was speaking to. The last thing was, and I know Wally's happy because I'm going to be short, but as we went along, we decided as a staff that we would like to present an award at awards night to the player that showed the most energy, the player that showed the most enthusiasm, the player that showed the most love for his teammates. We called it the Bell Ringer Award, and it was named in Tony's honor because that's what he was all about. I can remember as he presented each and every recipient with his own engraved bell, how proud those young men were to accept that, and how proud Tony was to present it. One of the greatest nights and honors I've ever had was when he and Elaine presented me with my own Bell Ringer Award. It means a lot, and it always is being proudly presented in my home. So now I'd like to present the person that made Tony what he was. If you know her, she's made all of us better. She's a wonderful wife, an unbelievable mother, and a loving grandmother, my great friend, Elaine Pesker.
Hard act to follow. I said, Russ, don't make me cry, and he did. Didn't listen. So just kind of bear with me a little bit, but thank you very much, Russ. I thought you were going to tell a couple other stories, but what you did was good. I know, you had on the short list. I want to congratulate all of the other Hall of Fame honorees and inductees. Thank you. It's nice to be sharing the stage with you. Let me just start here on my little speech. Since the late 1980s, Tony has been involved with Strongsville sports as a devoted fan, a bell-ringing spectator, a coach, but most importantly, as a proud father, watching his daughters in the marching band, cheerleading, athletic training, or playing sports. Mustang football became a passion for Tony when he met Coach Russ Jakes. Tony started hanging around the practice fields, watching two-a-days, and little by little became more involved with the team. This led to his coaching position as a special assistant, for which he took great pride in. During his 20-plus years with Russ, Coach Pesker was affectionately given the prestigious title of Director of Football Operations. Right, Russ? And he was so proud and did his job well. And Russ, he's still waiting for that raise that you promised him. Every year, nothing for nothing is still nothing. Even though Coach Pesker was never a position coach, he did whatever it took to help the guys keep their heads in the game, both on and off the field. And he was always available if they ever needed just to talk, and many did. God blessed us with 3 wonderful daughters, but Tony's always referred to the team as his boys, and they were, and my girls could attest to that. For more than 30 years, we would attend most of the home and away games. Tony would ring an old brass school bell in support of the marching band and the neighborhood boys who played on the teams. Most fans loved it, and others, well, let's just say they were annoyed, and they would let him know about it. But that didn't stop him. Once Tony started coaching and staying on the sidelines each game, I took over ringing the bell in the stands, and I still do today. Most of the time, Tony preferred not to ride the team bus to the games so we could drive together. After each home or away game, and as Russ reminded us, we used to play at Taliac Field, so we had a lot of away home games. They would rush back to the high school. Tony would rush back to the high school to greet the team, win or lose, ringing the bell as the team buses pulled in and the players got off. Tony bled green and white. After the games, Tony would pass out Smokies and bags of Tootsie Pops to players who played with passion and heart. And of course, he never forgot the cheerleaders. In the early 1990s, Tom Kane, who is now a good friend, but at that time was just a parent of a son, Matt, who played football, talked with Tony about the idea of doing something with the Bell Ringer Award. Tony thought it was a great idea and decided, along with the coaches, that they would give this award every year, and all the coaches would vote and decide who would be the recipient. Tom wrote a beautiful poem called The Bell Ringer, and it is displayed on the plaque that he had made along with each year's recipients. And that plaque still hangs proudly at the high school. If you get a chance, please go over and read the plaque and the poem. The Bell Ringer Award would be given to the individual contributing the most to the team with his enthusiasm, intensity, leadership, and spirit. For those who know the meaning of the bell, they truly know and respect the meaning of the bell. In fact, at Tony's funeral in March, we had his bell there for those who wanted to honor him and ring it. And it rang quite often. Throughout the years, Tony and I made many close friends with the other coaches, athletic trainers, players, and their families. I still remain close to them today. And recently, along with my family, they all helped me get through some very rough days. On behalf of myself and our family, we would like to thank the Strongsville Athletic Hall of Fame Committee for honoring my husband, Tony Pescar, at this year's Wall of Fame honoree. Thank you.
Okay, tonight's first inductee, Owen Lynch, and his presenter is his dad, Joe.
Good evening, everyone. After that touching rendition, so richly deserved, it's hard to ever follow that. You won't ever follow that. But I've got an opportunity to talk to you, and it kind of in the world that I've spent my life working in with young men, young women, kids, we call them, They don't like that anymore when they get to be about 40, by the way. What are you kids doing? We're not kids anymore, Dad. So as a young man that grew up, and like most boys it would be, there was this real particular tree that grew behind his house, and he loved climbing that tree. In fact, he could climb it up to the second floor, like patio or deck up there, and then what we would do is come back down. Not a good thing to happen, a little bit worried about what was going on, so we told him that he couldn't do that anymore, take it that high up, which didn't stop him, as you might imagine. Okay, he kept doing that. So, being resourceful, Dad took the first 5, 6 limbs from the ground level and sawed them off. Okay, he got away with that for quite a while till we discovered him in the top of the tree again. How did he do it? He wasn't going down, he was going up. No, he wasn't. He was jumping off the porch on the second floor. He had found that way to take care of that. That stuff didn't ride too well with what was going on, and so things mended pretty well. And about a month later, Mom and Dad were doing some serious grocery shopping in the morning on Saturday when CYO basketball was big. It was huge. It was at every school there was. And basically what happened there, Mom and Dad, in their excitement, Dad was going from Chanel over to Trinity to scout, and he thought his son was staying behind. And the other thing thought, and he played for 2 hours not knowing that neither parent was there. And thank gosh, nothing else happened. So then life's pitfalls were in and out of these instances as he and Mom and Dad tangled in typical child resistance to things and other things they were doing. So Dad particularly said, you need to find something and work at it and get good at it and be able to feel what that would be. And he said, I think I'll try basketball. And Dad, who knew quite a bit about basketball, or thought he did, basically made a workout program for him. And he started to work at it seriously. This particular Saturday morning, Mom was leaving Chanel to go over to Trinity to do the grocery shopping. And basically, she did that thinking that he was staying with her. He was in the back seat of the car, playing hide and seek under a blanket. Both parents got home. They didn't know where he was. The panic ensued for about 5 minutes until he got out of the car. Then there was some disciplinary action that I can't describe in front of a mixed crowd here. And it was pretty effective. But and the message that went out was, find something you can do that's useful. And he said, well, all Dad does is play with balls all day long, basketball. I might try that. The young man tried that. I wonder if he became successful. Owen, you better step down here, bud, if you would, please. And fortunately, we were in the era where the three-point shot had been adapted and states were doing that. So this is what this young man accomplished in just about a couple years. No, I'd like you to read those.
All right. Second team All Pioneer Conference as a junior. First team All Pioneer Conference as a senior. Third team All District as a senior. Second team All Sun Star as a senior. Honorable mention All State as a senior. Two-time Plain Dealer Player of the Week. 2 school records currently for three-pointers in a game and three-pointers in a season. 997 career points. Ironically, I fell short of 1,000 by 1 three-pointer. So, Greater Cleveland All-Star senior year. And that's it. So thank you, Dad, for coming out.
Thank you.
Doing that. Yeah, you're good. You want to have a seat? I can assure you, playing for my dad, he was never that nice to me. So, But for starters, I would like to congratulate the other Hall of Fame inductees that are here tonight in the committee for selecting me. This is quite the end of a few weeks for me. I just got back from my honeymoon on Sunday. My beautiful new wife, Amber, here. So it's been exciting. She's still, thank you. Thank you. She looks at me and still doesn't believe that I'm getting inducted for basketball, though. So, but as my dad kind of touched on, the game of basketball has been a huge part of our lives. Growing up, he was a coach at St. Peter Chanel High School, and practices were kind of like a form of free daycare for my parents. I just got pawned off to go with my dad and jump in and pass the time. My mom, she would kind of act as the team mother for everybody, hosting team dinners. I'd come home, find 16, places at the table set, and I'm kind of confused what's going on. She'd drive kids to and from practices, acting as a taxi for them. And as I began to kind of develop a love for the game on my own, I would look up to a lot of the players that my dad had as superstars, kind of say. My mom would tell me, you can't go to practice today. We're going to stay home. You're going to, hang out with me. We would then go out into the driveway. My mom would rebound for me for hours. And at the time, Charles Barkley was the best rebounder in the game. So rightfully so, we dubbed my mom with the nickname Barkley every time we went out there. So the constant practicing with him, my mother, my sisters, and all of his players led me to become a successful basketball player, with the pinnacle of my career being at Strongsville High School. The game has brought many life lessons as well. I've learned both joys and defeats, with successes and failures within the game and life. Basketball is a team sport where when the team is playing well, you have the best results. In my current profession as a firefighter, this team concept is very prevalent and even more important. My love for the game has not changed, just my ability to get up and down the floor. So I actually have been playing in a few leagues, and I found out you get 5 fouls, and I can use those as breaks because now I can't seem to get up and down the court as well. So in life now, I've traded teammates for coworkers, practices are now trainings, and my coaches are now my superior officers. I would like to thank my family for all of their support over the years, especially my sisters. Countless rides, constant support, and an undying loyalty. I could always find where my sisters were sitting in the stands because they were usually the loudest. Which all leads me to my last point, playing for my father. It was not easy, but it was truly an honor not everyone will get to experience. I'm so thankful that I was given the opportunity to play for him. We've butt heads beyond anyone's imagination, with most family dinners leading to arguments about a pass I should have made or a shot I shouldn't have taken, which, if anybody knew how I played, there weren't many of those. So, but I can honestly say that it has built so many memories between us that I will never forget. Thanks for being the best coach I've ever had in the game or in life. Thank you.
Congratulations, Owen. Our next inductee, Brittany Reddy, and her presenter is Tucker Neal.
All right, good evening. It was quite a few years ago when I was in the same position. A lot of familiar faces here, guys I graduated high school with, people from the community. This is definitely, like Mr. Jake said, this is definitely what Strong's all about. A lot of good people. And Brittany called me a couple weeks ago and said, I would love you to be my presenter. And I started thinking about the females in my life. And her dad can attest to this because I have my wife, I have my 2 daughters, I have a mother, a sister, and then there's Brittany. And I think I may have spent more time with Brittany than all of them combined. So we had this jump shot. So I'm a NBA skills coach, and I run tournaments around the world, and I do basketball. I have an invention called my shot coach. So I sell it all over the world, and the only person I could never fix a shot was Brittany Reddy. We have all these honors here. That she had a wonderful career, but she would come up there day in and day out. And her dad kept looking at me, and I almost felt bad for taking his money because here's this kid that when we fixed her shot, the next day she figured out a new way to break it, right, Gene? It was, but she kept coming back and she kept working and she kept working. And, you know, it's a testament to see what type of winner she really is. You know, she took a program that, you know, that hadn't won in a while. She became an all-time leading scorer. Took them to the final 16. You know, I look at her awards: 3-time All-State, 4-time first-team All-Conference, first ever girl to 1,000 points in a season, all-time leading scorer, most points in a single game, Sweet 16 appearance, you know, highest team winning percentage. It's hard to do those things. And so Brittany and I started in 4th grade. I watched this girl do around the back dribbles. And she kept going to the basket, but every time she got fouled, she missed her foul shots. You know, so we did this over and over and over. And over time, she started learning how to make her foul shots. And then she'd come back and she'd be frustrated, and we'd go back for a lesson on Tuesday. And most kids I saw once a week, and her dad would call me, we got to come back tomorrow. Okay, we go for another hour on Wednesday. She said, well, she's got a game the next day. She's got to come back the next day, so it'll be a Thursday lesson. Then it'll be a Friday lesson. She's got a game on Saturday. And then she'd have a day off on Sunday, and Jean'd call and say, she got to get a lesson. I'm like, holy moly. So I started adding up the hours that we spent together, Brittany and I. And it was an incredible run. You know, I had a big girl named Casey Nance. Her dad was Larry Nance. Played on the same AU team with Brittany. And so we went all the way down to Louisiana for a tournament called Basketball in the Bayou. And Casey was 6'5". And there's a girl just wearing Casey out. She's from down in Alabama, Arkansas, somewhere. So I look at Brittany, I said, go guard that girl. The girl was 6'6". If you watch Brittany when she comes up here, she's not 6'6". She's maybe 5'8". And Brittany shut her down because her will to win was greater than any athlete I've ever seen. You know, so when she said, please speak for me, I'm honored to be here because of all the kids that I've coached. She's the ultimate winner.
All right, so my career with basketball in Strongsville started way before I ever entered high school. It actually started in the 3rd and 4th grade, where I played for Strongsville Select. Most of our tournaments were here in Strongsville, and I would come into the tournaments at the high school, and I would look up at all the faces in the Hall of Fame and think to myself, I really want to be up there one day. So I'm truly honored to be here tonight receiving this award because it's something that I've wanted and worked for since I was 8 years old. My high school years were some of my favorite years. I have a very big family, most of whom live in or near Strongsville, and I have always had friends, brothers, sisters, grandparents, aunts, uncles, and cousins at the games. Looking back, it was amazing to be able to play in front of everyone. In high school, we made it to the district championship every year, which could not have been done without my awesome teammates and coaches. My sophomore year, we actually won the district championship, and we made it to the Sweet 16 in the state. Which is absolutely the coolest memory I have with basketball and probably my most favorite. That same year I scored 36 points to break the single game scoring record, which still holds today. And we also had the highest team winning percentage in the history of the school that year. My senior year was also one of my favorite years. That was the year Coach Eicher came over from the boys' side. He was the one who set up and called all of our defenses, which set us up for a lot of steals and fast break after fast break and constantly running, which was my favorite way to play because it set us up for some really high-scoring games. That same year, we broke the highest team scoring record in a single season, and that was the year I became the first female to ever score 1,000 points. Some people I would like to thank. I'd like to thank my brother, who started out coaching me with my dad when I was in Strongsville Select in the 3rd grade. We've always shared a passion for basketball, which has created a special bond between us, and I am grateful that he has been there to support me since the 3rd grade when I first started, and throughout my high school and college career. Also, when I was in Strongsville Select, I met my best friends there, who are still my best friends today, and 20 years later, even after meeting at our first practice at Moraski Elementary School, they're here tonight to support me as well. My parents, from the very beginning, I played soccer, football, volleyball, and basketball. They never missed a single game in my entire athletic career, not a single one. And I don't know how many kids can say that their parents never missed a single game out of thousands played. They were always there for me and still are to this day. They took me every week to go to lessons with Tucker. And they also carted me around the country to get me in front of hundreds of college coaches where I eventually received a full ride to college. My dad was always there to rebound for me 6 days a week for as long as I can remember. Even when I had my foot injury my junior year, he would take me up to the Omni and I would rebound for me while I shot from a chair, which I'm sure had to be really boring for him, but he never showed that he was bored. And it helped me to make a quick comeback the next year. He would also challenge me to lifting competitions at the house, whether it be pull-up contests, push-up contests, and that really made everything fun for me. Him and my mom are two of the most competitive people I know. I told them my goals at the age of 11. I said I wanted to break records and receive a full ride to college, and after a lot of sweat, tears, broken bones, and a lot of hard work, I achieved both. They both deserve as much credit as I am getting here today because nothing that I achieved would be possible without them. I couldn't have done it without their guidance, love, and support. They're the best parents I could ask for, and I would like to give another thank you to Kim and Jean Reddy. Tucker was my AAU coach growing up, but more than that, he was a mentor to me. He taught me about hard work and being the fiercest competitor possible in everything I do. I worked with Tucker from the age of 10 all the way through my college career. And even though I hold 9 records, I'm still jealous that I didn't break his single game record that he holds here at Strongsville. I would call him after every single game throughout my high school career, and he was there to listen and talk with me about the game that I had just played. He got me into the best tournaments to be seen by college coaches, where I eventually received over $150,000 in scholarship money, and I never had to take out a single student loan. And I can honestly say that changed my life, and I would like to say thank you to him again. You went above and beyond to be good to me as a coach and mentor, and to this day I'm still thankful for the impact you've had on my life, and I am also grateful I can still call you my friend to this day, and that you're here to present this award to me tonight. I just want to say thank you to everyone again. Strongsville truly was the best city I could have ever imagined to grow up in, and I'm very grateful and blessed to be here tonight and celebrate this accomplishment with all of you.
Congratulations, Brittany. Our next inductee, Ali Mechka Yasek, and her presenter is Eric Zapata.
Congratulations to all the athletes and presenters here tonight. It is an honor to be standing on the same stage with all of you. Thank you for all your hard work, dedication to Strongsville Athletics. You are what makes this school and this athletic department great. Thank you, Allie, for giving me this great honor to be here tonight and to have the chance to recognize you as one of the greatest volleyball players in Strongsville history. I've had the chance to coach at Strongsville Volleyball for over 18 years. We have had some great athletes go through our program, but Allie, you're at the top of the list. Allie comes from a great line of athletes, starting with her parents, Greg and Robin Mechka, and all of her sisters, Jody, Amy, and Kelly. All great Strongsville athletes and all great volleyball players. In 2001, Allie was a freshman. As a freshman playing varsity, she was a little bit nervous, and she never wanted to let the team down. We were playing Brunswick at Brunswick, and we were still in the hunt for the Pioneer Conference Championship. One of our team goals was always beat Brunswick at Brunswick. It was match point for us, and Brunswick called the timeout. Brunswick's best hitter had just rotated to the right side. They called the timeout. I looked at Allie. I said, their best hitter is going right side. We're shifting you left to get the block. Allie looked at me and she goes, but coach, I play middle. I'm like, I don't care where you play. Go left, get one block. Allie looked at me and said, okay. We go back on the court. We serve the ball. They set their right side. Allie transitions to the left side. They set their biggest, baddest hitter directly into Allie. Their girl takes a big swing. Allie blocks her straight down, wins the match. I still remember watching Allie when she turned around, raising both hands, showing the symbolic roof signal. Everyone does. And she had the biggest smile on her face. She knew that she had just won the match for her teammates and kept us in the hunt for a conference championship. That was the start of Allie becoming one of the best volleyball players in Strongsville history. Ironically, Allie walked in today, we started talking, and she comes up to me and she goes, Coach, Remember I used to play middle, but you used to shift me all over the place to block different players? I'm like, that's pretty funny. We're going to talk about that today. So it was awesome. It was a privilege to have Allie for 4 years. I remember her growing up when I was able to coach her sister, Kelly, and it's been an outstanding 4 years with her as one of our athletes. I have a... It's not showing up again. There we go. All right, sorry. So some of Allie's individual awards. Allie was a 4-time letter winner from 2001 to 2004. Her 4-year overall record was 70-24. 4-year conference record was 40-8. She was selected as team captain. She was all-conference honorable mention in 2002. First team all-conference in 2003 and 2004. First team all-district in 03 and 04. She was selected district MVP in 04. And she was the team MVP 03, 04, and selected to All-State in 2004. Some of her individual career stats. Allie had 757 total kills. She had 1,414 attempts. She had a 49.9 kill percent, which is insane. That means every other ball she was set was a kill. Her hitting efficiency in those 4 years was .319, 100 solo blocks, 100 block assists for a total of 216 blocks. Allie still holds 4 school records to this day. Total kills in 1 year for 363. Her kill percent in 2004 was 57.5. Total blocks in 1 season was 102, and total blocks per set at 1.6. It has been my honor and the privilege to be friends and close with the Mechka family, and it is now my great honor and great privilege to introduce Athletic Hall of Fame, Allie Mechka.
Wow, that was a lot. So first and foremost, I'd like to thank my parents, who were the ones who nominated me for this honor, which is a really, really big deal. And you know, they sacrificed a lot for me, and they were there for me throughout my whole career. And I really, you know, I wouldn't be the person I am without them. So thank you both. Love you very much. Secondly, I'd like to thank the committee for choosing me for this honor. Being an athlete at Strongsville High School was a really cool, prestigious group to be in. And all of you up here probably know it was the best time I know I had in my volleyball career and my sports career. And I think I can honestly say, I told Eric earlier, that it was the 4 years I played at Strongsville were the best years of my volleyball career. It was the most fun I ever had. And of course, I'd like to thank Eric for that great speech and for presenting for me tonight. And I can, from the start of my career, as he said, he always believed in me. As a freshman, I came in with a big target on my back. My sisters obviously kind of paved the way for me. But I went in freshman conditioning, and I played with the freshman team, and I was having the time of my life. And I'll never forget coming up, we had a scrimmage against a JV team, and he called my parents that night and said, we're moving Allie to varsity. And my parents told me this, and I said, what? Like, no, I'm not. Why would I do that? I'm playing with my friends. I'm not leaving. I don't want to play varsity. I don't know any of those girls. And my dad said, are you crazy? Like, this is a really big deal. You're not, you know, you're not saying no, you're going, we're forcing you to do this, and none of your sisters ever got this chance. And I was like, oh, wait, I'm gonna be better than them? Sorry, girls. So that kind of, you know, sparked a fire under me, because I finally had the one up, which I never, and still don't have on any of them. But, you know, 2 of them who are here tonight were inducted also into the Hall of Fame, and I had very big shoes to fill. A lot of you in this room know my sisters and were there when they were in high school, and they kind of paved the way for me, and I never, ever thought I would ever, you know, be as good as they were. I was dragged to every single basketball game, softball game, volleyball game from the time I was, I don't know, 10 years old. So it was a really big deal. But Eric, he always believed in me just to move me up to varsity and make me a 4-year letter winner. And I'll never forget my freshman year. He would make me stay after practice every single day. And we would have an hour or so of just drills. And I hated him. Sorry, I did. I was like, why is he doing this? This is horrible. I'd come home and cry. And then my parents would make me go to other camps and skills. I was like, this is horrible. This is horrible. But he was really the first person to ever believe in me and that I had, outside of my family, that I had a future in volleyball. I can remember one time he approached me in the weight room in the summertime, and I was likely goofing off and playing around with my teammates. And he said, take this seriously. Don't you understand? You're one of the only people in this room who's ever going to get to play in college. And again, I was like, what is he talking about? No, I'm not. I know I wasn't the easiest to coach. I'm sorry about that. And we told stories tonight. I know there was an attitude that I gave sometimes. But now that I am a coach myself in middle school, I can tell you that karma's gotten me back, for sure, with middle school attitudes. And a lot of my coaching techniques and things I've learned are from Eric and Dave Palaniuk as well. So I appreciate you much more now than I ever did then. So thank you, yeah. But volleyball's brought me many great things in life. The foundation was set for me here at Strongsville, and it was the best 4 years. And it ultimately led me to Ohio University, where I received a full volleyball scholarship. I met my teammates there that turned into best friends, and now I met my husband, who is also an athlete there. So it's taken me many great places in this world, and I'm fortunate to still be able to play volleyball today in Chicago on Lake Michigan every summer and coach for my school. So it's set a really good foundation in me, and Strongsville High School has built that. So so thank you very much for this honor. It's a really big deal, and I'm very proud to be up here tonight with the rest of you. So thank you.
Congratulations again, Allie. Next recipient, Mike Green, and his presenter is Tanya Gramstad.
Good evening, everyone. So unfortunately, Mike's high school coach couldn't be here tonight. And when Mike asked me to introduce him, my initial reaction was, hold up. I had absolutely nothing to do with your high school career. I mean, shouldn't your mom or dad be up here presenting you this award? Lord knows they put enough miles on their car trucking you around, and God bless them, they went through all those freezing cold, snowy, wintry games that you had. So, but here we are, folks, and I'm deeply honored. So, obviously, I missed out on the first 15 plus years of your soccer career, but there are a couple things I know for sure. Growing up, Mike idolized his older brother, Chris. Now, for those of you who don't know, Chris is 7 years older and spent most of his childhood growing up in Europe. So naturally, he got involved with football. See what I did there? And by the time Mike came around, that's all he knew. Mike even accredits his skills to the fact that he was able to play with Chris and his older brother's friends growing up. Soccer became second nature. It also became his first love. This man poured everything he had into the game he admired. High school practices, Cleveland Club soccer practices, and let's not forget those 4-hour round trips down to Columbus to practice with the Crew Academy. He lived it, he breathed it, and somehow managed to survive on a diet that consisted solely of peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. So tonight, I figured it would be nice to hear from some of Mike's former teammates. While they could not be here this evening, here are a couple quotes from players and coaches of Mike's past. One of Mike's biggest strengths as a soccer player was his ability to make anybody on the field with him a better player. He was always so focused and aware of his surroundings, and that allowed him to find space or see opportunities develop that most couldn't see. Mike is also one of those guys that is always positive. He's able to see the good in any situation and bounce back from adversity. It was a great experience being able to share the field with him through high school and then both of us going to the University of New Mexico in our respective sports and being able to see him succeed at the collegiate level. That came from former teammate Derek Halliday. Mike joined us as a U15 player and one of the best talents in the area. He joined a group that ultimately produced 13 of 18 D1 college soccer players, with 7 of those 13 going pro. Mike, being the youngest, always kept a very reserved and quiet demeanor. Let me tell you, it was easier to get blood out of a stone than to get Mike to say a full sentence at 15 years old. I know in the beginning he was not used to the change of scenery and my style of coaching. I normally never started him and let him watch and observe the opponent for the first 20 minutes of the game. Every time I told Mike he wasn't starting and he was coming off the bench instead, I could tell there was hesitation and trust all at the same time. But once I did sub Mike in, he would make an instant impact, and it was a game changer for us. That is what I remember most about coaching Mike early in his career. And that was former soccer club coach Kia, and I apologize, I honestly couldn't say his last name even if I tried. So our last story comes from former teammate and one of Mike's best friends, Bob Grevins. Mike impacted a lot of people, not only by his play, but by his approach, attitude, and passion to the game. He was the kid with notes all around the house and on his iPhone, which was blatant because he was like the only person, let alone high schooler in '07, to have an iPhone. Shout out to Mike's dad, Tony Green. His notes included exercises and drills down to minute-by-minute detail, or big goals like making it professional, which he did, by the way, a 6-year career at that. Mike's focus and dedication was evident in his skill and success. But that's not what I remember most about our time at Strongsville. I remember the bus rides, the drives to and from practice, bumping to that 50-cent CD, and the team dinners. With Mike's fun-loving and caring attitude towards life, we always had a good time, we always laughed nonstop, and he always took it upon himself to make sure everyone was included. Those are the memories I have from playing with Mike at Strongsville, more so than all the goals or the wins, which says a lot since Mike scored a ton of goals and we were one of the best teams to come through Strongsville. Shout out to the '07 state semi team. He accomplished so much on the field, but I want people to know and remember the care and laughter that he brought off the field. Well, Mike, those are some very kind words from friends of yours, so you better make sure and text them after you accept this award and say thank you. So, here's to, here we go, folks. The 4-year varsity letterman, the 2006 NSCAA All-Region Qualifier, the 2007 NSCAA High School All-American, the 2-time first-team All-State selection, the 2007 Top 20 Recruit in the Nation by Rise Magazine, the 2007 Plain Dealer Player of the Year, the 2007 Adidas ESP All-Star, the 2007 Youth All-American for Club Soccer, 4-time Ohio North State Cup champion, 2007 Ohio Player of the Year, and finally, Mike had the opportunity to represent Team USA in 2008 in the under-20 team at the Milk Cup in Northern Ireland. Whew, what a list. I must say, all of these accolades make the average individual, or average athlete for that matter, feel unaccomplished. The awards that you have received over your high school career are countless, but there is no greater reward than how soccer has shaped your character, your perseverance, and your drive to be the best version of yourself. While your accomplishments, Mike, are undeniable, there is no award greater than the man you have become because of the sport that you love. So with that being said, I am extremely proud and honored to present Mike Green as a 2018 Hall of Fame inductee for Strongsville High.
Whew, all right, good evening, everybody. I mean, listening to all those accolades, it kind of now just starting to rush in, thinking about all that. But first and foremost, where's Coach Jakes? Is he? There we go, over there. So you might have tried to get my brother to coach football, to play football. I believe you also tried to get me to play football. I believe it was a coach, I can't remember the coach's name, but he did come up to me and ask if I wanted to play wide receiver. Do remember going to a football game in high school, because I didn't really watch too much football. Do remember a wide receiver catching a pass over the middle, and he got crushed. That's when I was like, nope, I'm good. I am good with football. So, but with soccer, give a massive shout out to my brother. I definitely would not be playing if he wasn't playing. Because I think it was 3, 4, ever since I can remember, I've been playing soccer. And it's just been a game that I've known and loved even to this day. And it was just something that was kind of in me to just continue to get better. I think it was just because I loved soccer that much. It wasn't like I was trying to be the best. It just kind of happened with all the practices and the time that I put into the game, just because I love the game. So kind of unlike Brittany, I wouldn't really, I want to be in the Hall of Fame. I didn't really have that thought. I just want to be good at soccer. I just love the game. And my dad can attest to this, playing in club soccer when I was really little. We were always going to games, and he's like, oh, so who you guys playing? I don't know. Because in my head, didn't matter. Because I just want to play soccer. So it didn't matter who was on the other side of the field. I just wanted to play soccer. And I kind of carried that on through high school, college, the professional level, that I just really loved the game. And it wasn't until high school that I really, that started to get tested. Because obviously it starts to get harder in high school. And through all the preseasons, it's definitely a rocky road, roller coaster. And you start out with preseason, oh, I love soccer. Then once you get to the middle, going through those 2-3 a days, you're like, I think I hate soccer. You just kind of start thinking, and then once you get towards the end and it becomes season time, you're like, all right, let's go. I'm excited to play. And I just carried that thought through my mind throughout my years playing. I just loved the game. There was definitely numerous times through high school that, it was a bumpy road, but there was also a lot of great times. Met a lot of great friends, a lot of great teammates, and that's definitely something that I take away from it, is the teammates. Yeah, it's great. I mean, obviously all the accolades, it's a great thing to have, but to me, it was about the team. Because not only with soccer or any kind of team sports, you can't win without a team. So that was just something that's been sticking with me is, I want to get, All-American. I want to do this, I want to do that, but I can't do that if my teammates aren't with me. So that was something that I've carried with me even to this day. I'm not playing soccer anymore, but I have coworkers, and that's something I want to carry that on, whenever I have kids. I want to carry that on, teaching about respecting others and, having teammates and people that, love and care about you. Because you could have all the accolades in the world, if no one really loved you or cared about you, what does it kind of mean? So for me, it was all about the team and, enjoying the ride. Because like I said, hearing all these accolades never really hit me. Because I remember being in high school, I was on a magazine, I think it was Rise magazine, and people were like, oh, that's great, and it never really hit me. And it wasn't until it was yesterday driving up from Columbus that I really started to think, I've accomplished a lot. We've accomplished a lot. And it's just something that's really great that we get to, have this honor of being inducted into the Hall of Fame. So I want to say thank you for that. Thank you to my teammates. Thank you to my family, my brother, to Coach Cook, who may be here later. But it was just a great ride. Like I said, a lot of memories, and I just want to, without a doubt, say that I love my teammates because at the end of the day, that's, the friendships that I have. Meeting a lot of people from different places all over the world, probably wouldn't have that opportunity if I didn't play soccer. So, obviously it's great that I had all these accolades, but once again, can't stress enough that I really do love my teammates because, once again, it's all about the team. Let's put it this way. With LeBron, he's great, but he can't win a championship without 4 other people on the court. So, once again, it's, I think, all about the team. And once again, I can't thank you enough for, inducting me into a Hall of Fame for playing the game that I've loved since I was 3. So thank you.
Next inductee, Michael Meldon, and he's being presented by his coach.
Hi, good evening, everyone. It was an honor to coach Michael. It's an even bigger honor to be a part of this, too, and get him inducted into the Hall of Fame. The first thing I'm going to do is just go over some of his stats, some of the things he accomplished, and then I'll just talk a little bit about Michael. When he graduated, he had 6 of the 8 individual swimming records our school had, and over some of these accomplishments he had, he really just kind of set a bar for the program. There wasn't much in terms of high accomplishment in the program prior to Michael, so he kind of just set the tone for a lot of people. People still look up at the record board at the rec center and see his name, and the kids want to get those records. It's just, they're really, really fast, so they probably won't get them, maybe. He also had 9 of the 12 total records in Strongsville when he graduated. He was 8-time All-Ohio. He was also recognized 7 times as a high school All-American. He was state champion in 2011 in the 50 freestyle and the 100 freestyle. At that time, he was 7th in the history of the state of Ohio with his time in the 50 freestyle and 6th in the 100 freestyle. He currently is still ranked pretty high. He's still 14th all-time state of Ohio history in the 50 freestyle and 16th in the 100 freestyle. He was the 2011 Plain Dealer Swimmer of the Year. Before he went to college, he also qualified for the Olympic trials. Then he went to The Ohio State University and then swam in Olympic trials in 2012. As far as the team accomplishments with Michael, in 2011 he led the team to a 9-0 record. They were district champion, which in swimming it's a little bit different. Districts is right before states. There's only 4 of them, so it's like a regional in every other sport. And I think before Michael was in high school, Strongsville had never been in the top 10 in the district. So it was quite a big deal for them to be district champion. He also, that year, they were 6th in the state of Ohio, which they'd only had 1 individual ever even score points at the state meet. It was a diver. So that was quite a big deal to get all the way up to be 6th in the state. The team, his sophomore year, won sectionals, which is our first step of the state tournament. And that had only ever been won by St. Ignatius and St. Ed's. And Strongsville won, and then for a number of years, even after Michael, he kind of started a trend. And the team excelled. During his time with Strongsville, the team was 31-3, and his last 3 years they were 26-1, including the last 2 seasons being undefeated. And swimming is an individual sport, but one individual can have such a big impact on the team. I'd like to talk about some of that with Michael. His extremely high character, and it's something that affected his teammates, and it affected the kids after him. He persevered. After his sophomore year, training in the off season, he broke his foot. You don't think you get injured in swimming, but he broke it playing basketball. So, so he couldn't swim that summer. Then his junior year, he got disqualified at the state competition. He likely would have won. But that didn't stop him. He got even more motivated for the relays for his teammates and to do well, to elevate them. Then after his senior year, at nationals in the summer before his senior year, he makes finals, which is such a big deal. Like, he never even qualified, and we're out in California, and he makes finals. They have these special suits they wear to help them swim faster, right? You'll see it at the Olympics. Well, he forgot his at the hotel. So that you think that would be it. Like, someone would be incredibly flustered and they just kind of fall apart. He saw a coach of another club from Indiana, a great club there that he had just met. He said something to him, got a suit that was actually one of his competitors in his heat suit, and then he went and he won the heat. And this is all in the matter of 20 minutes. He didn't get flustered, he just fought through it. And then his senior, it was incredible. The impact he had on the team, all those team accomplishments, and he really led them. And then winning 2 state championships. He was a captain of the team. We used to have a picture book for our team that our diving coach would put together. You would constantly see team pictures of the team at the end of the lanes, and Michael was in front cheering for his teammates. Consistently, Michael was in front. And sometimes you get the very best person, they're kind of doing their own thing, they're taking time to prepare to get themselves ready. And he did that, but then he was there for all of his teammates. He would consistently help his teammates in practice. Like, if he saw them doing something, he would give them advice. Like, he had no issue with that. He wanted all of them to be better. And he continued to do that after he went to college. He'd come home and he'd help the kids at Strongsville still. One summer when he was in college, he came home and was waking up, at practice 6 a.m., helping kids every day from the team. So he has incredible leadership ability that was amazing for the team. I remember his senior year, this hasn't been done since, but he got a group of boys, because they wanted to do so well, to wake up to be at the rec center at 5:30 in the morning to get better, and this was preseason. I still haven't had a group of kids do that since. So it was unbelievable, but he spearheaded it, because not only did he want to get better, he wanted to bring everybody with him. One of the things, he got disqualified his junior year in high school, and an interesting story behind that is, the official that disqualified him, we just inducted him in the Ohio High School Coaches Hall of Fame for his contributions, and he was an official at the Olympics. So I talked to him, and he goes all over the country, and he talks to officials, and he talks about stories, and he talks about this kid that he disqualified at the state meet. But he talks about what he uses it for. He talks about that kid's character, how the kid was honest with him about everything that happened. He was honest with him, he was humble, and he showed so much respect to him. And then I'm like, I was his coach. Remember, I talked to you after I tried to get you to reverse the call. He didn't even remember that. But he remembers Michael's character, and he remembers, again, Michael has so many accomplishments in swimming. He's done so much. He even went to Ohio State, and he was part of a record-setting relay there at one point. But through all he's accomplished, his character, I keep that. At practices, I remind the kids of Michael, not just for his accomplishments. I say his name because they know his name, they see it. But for the other things he did, for how he supported his teammates, and again, for that character. Through the good and the bad, he always had that. And again, it was a pleasure to coach him. Some of my best memories were coaching Michael, and I'm going to hold on to that forever, and I'm so proud of him. So, Michael Meldon.
So that was Tom Stacey, head coach at the Strongsville swim team. I just want to say thank you. That was a really pretty emotional speech. Not something that I spend a lot of time thinking about, but while I was preparing for this induction, I was kind of thinking about all of the moments that lead us to where we are. So I was born in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. I'll be quick with this narrative. And my parents moved to Strongsville in 1992, 1993, into a small neighborhood in between 42 and 82 called Ledgewood. And this neighborhood just happens to have a 50-meter pool. So that's what they swim in the Olympics, big, long pool. Most people do not have access to that. Most people don't have access to any pool. But I was lucky enough to be blessed with this beautiful pool in such a wonderful sylvan environment. And that's where I started swimming for the first time, really. Some people fall into their sports. I was literally thrown into mine. But immediately just took to it and loved it. Moving forward, it's kind of in and out, always swimming in the summer, sometimes swimming in the winter. But when I went to high school, I spent the year before swimming, kind of trying to get back into it after a couple years off. It was going okay, but we were getting a new coach. So this is some turmoil that was going on at the time. Change is frightening, and it can be tough to make the best out of a situation. But I think we really did, in this particular situation, come out so far beyond what we could have hoped for. My freshman year, I was a decent swimmer, nothing really special, not a particularly noteworthy year, but every year I got a lot better and gained a lot of confidence. I remember being at the state meet my freshman year and looking at the guys who won and looking at all those people who were swimming and thinking that it would be so cool just to be there. I never could even imagine taking it much farther than that. The next year I was at the meet. The next year I was in contention to win. And then the year after that I did win. The day of finals, I called the coach at Ohio State and said, I'm going to come swim for your program. A lot of the other guys at the meet had recently committed or committed in the last couple months. So I got to meet them for the first time and start forming those connections, building those friendships that I still have to this day. And then I went to Ohio State. I swam for 2 years at Ohio State, had a great time, and then chose to pursue a little bit more academic route, which leads me to where I am now. And that is a pretty long list of kind of lucky interactions to get to where I am today. I just happened to have relatives who lived in that neighborhood, and that's why we chose it. That's why we moved to Strongsville in the first place. A guy named Bob Schmidt built a big pool back in 1971 just because he liked swimming. We got a new high school coach right before my freshman year, and that set me on the track to success through high school and into college. And going to Ohio State, there's a culture of sports, Ohio State, you know, scarlet and gray. And that was one of the big reasons that I was accepted into medical school there. That was a big thing that they told me. They found it impressive. They loved the culture, and it was the only medical school I got into. So, I mean, you only need one, but I only got one. So it's interesting to see how we end up where we do. But through all of this, sure, I worked decently hard. I don't think I worked a lot harder than anyone else. There's probably people who are working harder than me, but without some seriously lucky circumstances, some wonderful infrastructure in this city, and just wonderful opportunities, people were able to achieve a lot. So I just want to thank a few people. Thank my parents who, if you don't know that much about swimming, it's an early morning sport. I'm not a morning person. I'm pretty bad about getting up. One time I lied to my mother and said school is canceled. I don't remember that, but I guess I said it. But if you've ever driven to Hudson at 4:30 in the morning in a half a foot of snow, it's quite the trek. I'd like to thank my coach, Tom Stacy, and my strength coach, Melissa Coughlin, as well. All the teachers at Strongsville High School who created a great academic environment and really pushed me to achieve academically, probably more than I've achieved athletically. I would like to thank the Hall of Fame and Strongsville City Schools in general for having just great programs and also for inducting me. I'd like to thank Doug Kowicki for all those posters over there, and there's actually that book as well that Tom was talking about, but the team parents were really a huge help for us and make it all worthwhile. And of course, I would like to thank my teammates who I remain friends with, and really that is what it's all about at the end of the day, is working together. And all the accomplishments are great, but it's really about the journey itself. And I think one of the most important things about sports and about these team activities is the community that they build. And as far as this community is concerned, paying it forward, going back to your team and just lending a hand. A lot of people can benefit a lot from a little bit of advice. And I'd also like to thank specifically anyone who works at the rec center, anyone involved in building that. That was one of the largest helps, honestly, that you can have in this sport. It's so resource intensive and it is so infrastructure dependent. You can't swim without a pool, and you can't swim well without a good pool. So luckily, I actually have Robin Metzger here, who kept a very tight ship at the Strongsville Rec Center, and I believe was actually a huge part in being instrumental to my success. So thank you again. Thank you to the committee, and thanks, Tom.
I'd just like to congratulate Michael's coach, Tom, for the fine job he's doing with the swim team. Okay, we're almost at the end of the program. Few things I'd like at this time for any present Hall of Famers to please stand. The principal at the high school, Mark Smithberger, has a few words to say.
Thank you so much. I want to say thank you to the Hall of Fame committee for their hard work getting the induction class ready for us. To the inductees, congratulations. Your accomplishments are amazing. And I will keep it very short because I know that everyone wants to go. Once you tell people they can leave, they're ready to leave. So now I'm up here on a tough spot. When I think about the role of athletics and what it means at a high school, and the example it lets you guys have set for our students is amazing, of hard work, of accomplishment. I had a graduate school professor tell me once, athletics are the front door to a high school. And because of people like you guys and your accomplishments, our front door is beautiful. We are truly blessed to have the people we have working with our students, coaching them, being a part of it. We have tremendous athletes who work hard. I love the fact we talked about accomplishments, but I also like the fact we talked about hard work, being a good teammate. Those are lifelong skills. We probably don't do a lot of swimming anymore, a lot of volleyball playing per se, competitively, but we're still all going to be citizens of this world, and we need to be good people, work, be a part of something. So you guys have been great role models for that, and thank you so much for the beautiful front door you've given Strongsville High School. Thank you.
And then this will be the plaque that'll be at the high school honoring the 5 inductees.
Thank you so much.
Okay, I'd like to thank all for coming, and that concludes our program.